Chapter 16. The Divine and Demoniac Natures. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor, these transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. In the beginning of the 15th chapter, the banyan tree of this material world was explained. The extra roots coming out of it were compared to the activities of the living entities, some auspicious, some inauspicious. In the 9th chapter also, the devas or godly and the asuras, the ungodly or demons, were explained. Now, according to Vedic rites, activities in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious for progress on the path of liberation, and such activities are known as Daivi Prakriti, transcendental by nature. Those who are situated in the transcendental nature make progress on the path of liberation. For those who are acting in the modes of passion and ignorance, on the other hand, there is no possibility of liberation. Either they will have to remain in this material world as human beings, or they will descend among the species of animals or even lower life forms. In the 16th chapter, the Lord explains both the transcendental nature and its attendant qualities, and the demoniac nature and its qualities. He also explains the advantages and disadvantages of these qualities. So what does this mean? If we don't seek liberation in this lifetime, we won't achieve it. So when we practice these yogic practices, not just the asanas, if you only practice the asanas, you're only doing one thing. You're only really exercising. And yes, you're purifying the body, but are you really purifying the mind? And how do we purify the mind? Through meditation. But what if we can't sit and settle the mind chatter? Then we go back to the asanas. But these are just some of the first little stages of learning how to purify the body and the mind. What about all the guilt and shame that we carry around with us as adults? How do we purify ourselves from the guilt and shame of who we once were? Or the guilt and shame that's been put upon us by the people who raised us? This comes from devotional practices. This comes from what we modernly call now self-care. Self-care means taking time for yourself, not just jumping out of bed, looking at your phone and reacting to what you see. It means taking some time to be in silence for yourself, taking some time to really clean the body, taking some time to sit in nature and really calm down the body and the mind. Taking time to not just clean our bodies, but clean our homes and clean our spaces. Saucha, which means cleanliness, is a very important practice in yoga. And I teach my students that, not only should you be clean, not only should your mat be clean when you show up to your yoga class or you do your yoga practice at home, but your car should be clean. Oh, your desk should be clean. Your spaces should be clean. Because cleanliness is next to godliness. How can we live in a dirty, messy space? Our minds cannot function well. They cannot function clearly. And in this passage, he also talks about those who are evil. Those who live in evil will never feel the peace of liberation in this lifetime, and they will have to come back and live it again and again and again as humans or even as animals. And they may even have to suffer their karma again and again and again before they even seek liberation. So what can we do to be on the path of liberation? Well, first, we practice the asanas. We take care of ourselves. We practice non-judgment. Even in this, he says, aversion to fault finding. We shouldn't find the faults in ourselves, but we shouldn't find the faults in others. But when we're seeking faults in others, we are seeking the faults of ourselves. That's non-judgment. This verse also goes on to say, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These are transcendental qualities. We shouldn't be constantly seeking validation. Our internal validation should be enough. So as we go through life, as we grow up, we put on all these layers. They call them sheaths, right? All these layers, these beliefs. And when we discover yoga, we realize these are heavy layers that we no longer need. These are layers that we've been putting on ourselves again and again and again, that have been bogging us down, that have been leaving us in delusion. And we don't want to live in delusion. We want to live in clarity. We want to wake up and know that we are loved infinitely, that today is going to be a good day, and that all of our interactions are going to be positive. And this is hard to practice when the news, the internet, the social media is constantly feeding us negativity and pointing the cameras at people who behave badly. Reality TV is just pointing a camera at a group of people who are not nice to each other. And it is hugely popular. And then we have all these murder TV shows constantly glorifying evil doing. Yeah, the person might get punished at the end, but the whole show is about evil. And we are enthralled. What does that do to our minds? What does that do to our soul? And why do we keep going back for more? It's like an addiction. It's like a drug. It gives us something inside of ourselves that gives us that little lift or boost. And we should not be participating in it if we want to achieve liberation. If we want to achieve contentment, santosha. If we want to achieve long-lasting joy in this lifetime. So let's start practicing forgiveness. First, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for putting on all those sheaths. Forgive those who raised you, for they were only doing the best that they could. Forgive those that you judge, and forgive yourself for judging yourself. They say let people off the hook a little bit more, but when you let others off the hook, you're really letting yourself off the hook. And it's difficult trying to reinvent yourself. And it's not really what you're doing. You're not really reinventing yourself. You're coming back to yourself. And when you come back to yourself, who you truly are, that pure soul, that pure light, then the struggle starts to end. The desire for approval starts to drift away. the search outside of ourselves for some sort of feeling or emotion starts to turn inward, and we really start practicing contentment within ourselves. But if we refuse to turn the mirror inward, we will never find liberation. Chapter 16. The Divine and Demoniac Natures. Verse 4. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of the demoniac nature, O son of Vritta. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science. Although they do not follow these principles, they are always arrogant or proud in possessing some type of education or so much wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. Wow, that's a powerful verse. And it seems to be playing out more vividly now than maybe in the past. And I think that's because we point the cameras at these demoniac characters that are playing roles in our lives on the planet. So what is the purpose? What is the purpose of these demoniac beings? Well, everything is a reflection of us. Because when we condemn them, we are just creating more of that. And it even says here, these demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies in the wombs of their mothers. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. So, is this predetermined by birth? Is this something that was created at birth? Well, in this book, Prabhupada, he talks about how even at conception, maybe your personality is created. So if perhaps your conception was not a loving or caring one, was not, made in a moment of love and bliss, then perhaps this child might come into this world inauspicious, may come into this world with these demoniac qualities. Now, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but perhaps, we don't know. I'm not sure if it's been scientifically proven, but we do have to consider that those who were raised oftentimes by people who put a lot of tension on money and power and control and, pushing others out of the way so that they can climb on top so they can reach their success, definitely breeds children that learn these same behaviors. Just like, for example, I was raised as a Catholic. I was raised to be charitable. So much so that I was even taught that people who had less than me deserved more than me. And I was asked to give away my Christmas toys. And that hurt a lot. And it gave me a poverty mentality for a long time. And I don't want to live in a poverty mentality. I don't want to live, without abundance and money flowing to me. But I was taught to give away everything. And you don't need to give away everything. If the divine speaks to you and tells you that you need to give away something, then maybe you should. But the greatest gift we can give is love. Material objects will come and go. Everything is temporary. So it is important to give these demoniac or evildoers our love. And it is one of the hardest things to do, to give love. I know. But if we close our eyes and we put our hands over our heart and we breathe deeply into that space, especially the space behind the heart, and we release that love to these who we believe are the evildoers, it brings us more peace. We can't control them. And every time we look at the evil work that they're doing, we're only hurting ourselves more. For karma, their energy that they put out into the universe will come back to them in some way, shape, or form. And if not in this life, in the next life. Because we have all played the roles of darkness. We have all played the roles of light in this world again and again and again and again and again since the beginning of time, whether we are rock, plant, animal, or taken birth as human. So remember, whenever you see there is evil, take a deep breath, put your hand over your heart, breathe into the space all around the heart, and send your love. And you may not think that's doing much, but it is doing a lot. Your energy expands far beyond your body. And your love and blessings not only make you feel better, but it really actually makes them feel better. And you're like, well, why should I make them feel better? They're evildoers. Because you want to feel better. You want to spread love. Because you are the one who wants love to expand. We all do. Many, many, many of us want love in this world. We want more and more love, 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 love. It's just hard to see it because we don't see much of it. And you know what they say, if there's a train wreck, it's hard to look away. If there's a train wreck, send it love. Do what you can, and if you can't do anything, then turn away and focus on yourself. Meditate, pray, because you don't need to hold on to the anger from the evildoers' work. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't make you feel better. And it doesn't do anything to raise the vibration of the planet. What does raise the vibration of the planet is sending love, meditation, smiling, a kind word. Things that don't cost money can be given away for free. And they spread, and they only make you feel better in that moment. And maybe and hopefully they will make that other person feel better too. I love you. Do good work. Namaste.